In the early 1860s, the HMS Warrior was home for one of her first lieutenants, a young rising star named Jackie Fisher.
He used to go for walks in the South Downs, barking out gunnery orders to train his voice so they could be heard, 200 feet away. He was determined that he was going to be the smartest gunnery officer in the Navy.
And throughout a meteoric career, Fisher always embraced the latest innovations. By 1904, he was first Sea Lord and in a position to radically change the design of battleships. His goal was to create a new ship for a nation struggling to maintain its position as a naval power.
The British Navy was huge. At the 1897 Diamond Jubilee Naval Review, it was calculated that there were more ships present than the next 6 navies combined. But we had kind of been first in industrialization, and we'd reached a sort of technological plateau, or so it seemed, and others were beginning to catch us up.
Fisher's new vessel would draw its inspiration from Britain's naval past.
What did Warrior bring to the naval scenery? She was fast and she was strong. And Jackie Fisher remembered that.
The new battleship took shape in Portsmouth Dockyard in secret. It was built in only 130 days and named HMS Dreadnought.
When it was launched in early 1906, the world was just astonished.
At the end of what had been a 55-year design process, we end up with a ship that does all the same things that Warrior had done. It was larger than any contemporary warship. It had more firepower than any contemporary warship. It used advanced technologies.
And as a former gunnery officer, Fisher was keen to overcome one clear flaw in earlier ships.
Battleships had this multiplicity of armaments. Every gun was aimed and fired at the turret by the officer in charge. You couldn't spot and correct your fall of shot because everyone else was shooting, and who knew which splash belonged to which gun?
Instead, Dreadnought would give control of 10 identical 12-inch guns to just one gunnery officer.
And he could fire in salvos. He could press the button that fired the guns. He was above the smoke. He was above the spray. He had a better view, and he could watch the shell splashes of each salvo to adjust and correct the next salvo. So suddenly it became possible to engage enemy ships at considerable range.
It raised the game in terms of naval design. It was a ship that meant that every other warship in the world was now obsolete, and every battleship built afterwards would be called a dreadnought.
And the dreadnoughts were fast. They were the first large ships to be powered by the latest engine, the turbine. A turbine works by forcing pressurized steam over a series of angled blades in a sealed container, which power the ship's propeller. The world